Hello and welcome to this video. I'm going to be using my current theme of distortions and use my own sort of combing through of distortions to speak a bit about something going on right now for myself and also, for the collective and for anybody going through like I am, sort of the shift of seasons here in the Northern Hemisphere. I live in the Northeast United States. And so we're coming upon winter, and it's that also coming upon the holidays season, kind of, and the end of the year. It's that stressful, chaotic buildup that happens, and the change of daylight. After daylight savings, we have more darkening coming. And I've been sharing a couple of memes over on my Telegram channel, so if you follow me over there, then you'll see like the hibernation kind of theme going on over there. And that's what I want to talk about. This sort of guidance and truth that I have been being called towards, and am now really trying to align more with and speak more openly about, living alongside the seasons, with organic nature, with the place and space that you reside at, that I reside at personally, I'm going to be speaking about, but feel free to interpret this along where with you live and what you're in at your time right now. I'm going to be using autumn and winter as examples, of course, but feel free to use whatever type of seasonal changes that you're facing, because this is, what I'm going to be talking about, the seasonal changes, self-care and self-love during the seasonal changes, and how we can use those as guidance points to do our own introspective work and care to be mindfully aligned, harmoniously, in our lives, in our place and spaces, and not just with what we're doing, but with what organic world is doing too. And I should have, it's too bright to even see out the window. I was hoping to have the trees in the background for the video too, because like I said, I live in the Northeast United States, and I live in a very forested area, luckily. I love the place and space that I reside at, and with the change of seasons, it's like every day is a masterpiece out there. The forest that I live sort of within is deciduous and evergreen, so we have a mixture of different types of trees that change, and the ways that they change are so beautiful to watch, the coloration. A lot of them are bare even now. It's been so windy, but the evergreens are in between, and it's such a cyclic reminder of the shutdown, of the closing down, of quieting in and going inwards, of the tucking in, of, dare I say, death and endings and closures and stopping. We have the new year for January, of course, the forced calendar new year, and sort of the matrix stampede of the traditional calendar kind of holiday roll. We also just went through the more organic new year, or the more ancient new year that's reflected with the Celtic and Aztec and ancient Mayan sort of time of their new year, with sort of the daylight savings and the coming of winter. And the whole idea here is, and what I've been guided to, is to really recognize these things and work with them. The secondary kind of thing that I'd like to talk about also in this video, the distortion part of it, that I sort of mentioned with the matrix and all of that, is the seasonal depression kind of stage that people get into, and that I myself used to really get into, and also sort of the holiday cram, chaos, depression, or anxiety phase that gets rammed on us. These things both get kind of wrapped up into one, especially where I'm from and how I've lived in the past. And this year has had, I've talked about it many times on my channel, so if you follow my channel, thank you, of course, and you probably have heard me talk in the past months and year about the huge changes that have taken place in my world, and the opportunities and shifts that my own family has been through, my husband and I, and sort of changing our job opportunities and the way that we live and work at the same place now, and it's wonderful opportunities, but it's different than things that we've ever done before, and it's kind of miraculous the way that it come about, and the shifts and the ripples that have played out over this year are such teaching points for me, such retrospective points of this thresholds that I could look back and see progress that I've made, and see progress that we've all made, and also new chances at service, and defining what service is, and being able to explore these ideas of freely offered service and the kind of things I've talked about on my channel, and made a whole series about the system series, energetic exchanges, and all of that. Get to really do day-to-day work in that, in real life ways, in 3D, direct world ways, with exchanges with others, with conversations, with helping other people, with doing physical labor work, and cleaning places and spaces, and making making places comfortable and happy to be at, and taking care of outdoor spaces and things like that. That has provided a lot of different kind of momentum and exercise to the same work and words that I was talking about in those series, and that I just find so empowering to think about philosophically, and to contemplate. And that has now allowed me to be able to look at the sort of shifts of the seasons in such a different way, in a more empowering way too, to where it doesn't deplete my energy, and to where I don't get sucked into this sort of weird box of seasonal depression, or seasonal anxiety about the holidays, or about all the things that those come along with. More dark and less light all day, and having this sort of impending doom of winter, I used to call it. That was sort of working up that I'd create in my own mind in the first place, and make it much more than it even needed to be. So much so that then I'd be sort of vomit sharing it all over anybody who would even be near me. Just sort of, without really even thinking about how they feel, or even wanting a solution for it either. It was just about having it to blab about, having about it to sort of circle around about, because it was a common point that another person would have that same sort of right back at you replies to go around about. About, the to-dos for Christmas, or all to get together for all the things to do for Thanksgiving, and cleaning of the house, or having people over. These type of family members don't agree with that or this, and the bills, or the cold weather, and all the snow, and all the weather's bad. Didn't you hear it's going to be this and that? It's going to be so cold. And then the same thing with the shuffle between work and school, and the whole sort of negative cycle that it used to create. You'd get up and it would still be dark, and rush the kids off in the cold, drop them at school in 25 layers. Or worse, sometimes like me, in the mornings, having to walk them up to school in elementary school. We live too close for the bus, and sometimes we didn't have a car. And walk up with the snow boots, and have to have sneakers in the backpack, and unpack them when they get there, get them out of their snow clothes, and same thing on the way home. And that, knowing that was coming, even sort of at this time of year in the fall, I'd be like, I can't even enjoy it. The fall's so pretty, but I can't enjoy it because I just know winter's coming. And I would get myself caught up in that, and really spoil it for myself. In these last couple of years, 2 years, but now this final last year, where it's been such changes. I've been through many changes since 2020, moving away from the shuffle, and starting homeschooling, and being remote working, and then leaving my job completely, in stages over the last couple of years, getting further and further away from that traditional society kind of shuffle. Now I can breathe freely, and now I see, wow, probably 80% of the causation of all of that was internal on me. And when I could really stop and pull out of it, I started to notice, wow, I don't really need to actually go through any of that. You know, I was putting a lot of that on myself. And in fact, I don't want to do any of that. I do want to enjoy the shift of the seasons. I do want to enjoy the changes and the holidays and things that come along with it traditionally. But I don't want all the baggage. And I don't want all of the undue negativity and all the chaoticness that's just the drama that's not necessary. First and foremost, I would say for myself personally, being able to be detached from the social aspect of it has really been sort of a nail in the coffin. So I have a lot of actual thanks for the last couple of years and sort of the divide that it's created in worlds. And so thankful and grateful and happy for the side that I happen to just be on, because it's much easier to just find what feels good over here and to just do what's pleasant for us. And all the people who are kind of over there in this sort of negative realm and still doing the traditional mainstream shuffle, I don't even hear it really anymore. And when something pings through or something comes through, or I bump into people who want to have quick conversations, and it immediately goes to something like that, because it's almost like a mind-controlled, parroted conversations. Like I said, word vomit. It's just this habitual go-to of small conversation, bits and points that change. And now the seasons come into those complaining points. It's so much easier for me to see them for what they are and to not engage with them and to just say, well, yeah, I guess so. Some people do find this time of year really stressful, you know, or try to just find whatever I can as like a neutral response. Sometimes I try to put in my own kind of positivity. Oh, I love this time of year. Or, oh, yeah, I try to really love the season change, because it does come and go. And I know in the summertime it'll be so hot and I'll be missing the winter, or, you know, whatever the case might be. Or, you know, I try to say, oh, well, the snow's so pretty at first. I get it. It does get redundant after a while. But those first couple of snowfalls are so beautiful, aren't they? You know, to try to bring in the remembrance of the appreciations and not focus and harp on the negativity. And not in infringing ways either. I don't make them conversational points or ask people, oh, don't you, you know. This is the underlayer of the point of the spiritual work and my kind of homework, my just sort of combing throughs that I've come around to learn. That the lessons in all of that isn't even about teaching others to get out of seasonal depression or to stop their little cycles of whatever they're doing or to stop their word vomit, you know? And it's not either to sit there and pat their back while they vomit all over you either, you know? It's just to get out of the place and space, unfortunately, not to let it spill onto you, you know? Because it's their choice to do that. And they won't stop until they're sick and tired of doing it, or until they themselves realize that it's an internal function of regurgitation that they have control over. You know, it's not some kind of subconscious autonomic little thing that's there. No, it's a triggered response that's happened because of things that you haven't dealt with in there that have piled up. And if you just choose to go and look at them, they won't pile up and it won't happen. But culturally, we have been, you know, manipulated into thinking that that's the go-tos. And with the age that we're upon and the new light and new comings and just everybody seeking their truth and all the changes, the age of Aquarius, all the stuff that has to do and come into play with the new shifts available, People aren't really going for that too much anymore. Thank you. And I, for sure, am not. And with not doing that comes this great freedom, and I want to share being able to, these self-care points of seasonal change, to get into alignment and to find, excuse me, to find as guidance points these anchors in organic nature and points of change and the cycle points that we're called towards being a part of at these shifts and change times. To use them as keys, basically, or to gain momentum, or to use them as little supportive, nourishing acts while we're doing these exercises. And of course, this time of year, is introspective things. It is about the coming together, but it's about the bringing inwards of all that's been done all year long. And it's about giving thanks and holding faith in new beginnings, in new starts, in all that's to come again. And in knowing there's stuff to come again, and to knowing that, and seeing, say, by example, that summer's over and lots of things are dying out, lots of things are coming, looking like they're over. Flowers are gone. Lots of fruits and vegetables are not, they're wilting and dying off. The trees lose leaves. It's colder, the animals are gone. Birds are migrating. Other animals are hibernating. There's less movement. These are keynotes for us to do the same, and to do that internal work as well. And I get it, industry goes on, work is still there, and not everyone is as blessed and can live as in alignment as I am right now. But that doesn't mean they can't always, and that there couldn't be different ways to do this. I do think there really is, and I do think we will get to communities, local services, local business and systems that do organically align with their biospheres, and they do business that way, and that yearly, fiscally years work seasonally aligned. They will, because it actually works better. It actually promotes more positive sharing. It promotes more productivity. It creates better beneficial surpluses in whatever industry and context that you choose when you align with the organic flow. It's wonderful to do that, but of course the overlay of negativity with the matrix won't allow for that, because the restrictive control mechanisms, the channels along all of the streams of the rivers, the channels have to work at certain times. The gates only open at certain times, says the certain machine of the control mechanisms here. And you can't have free-flowing open service if you want scheduled channels to be open and closing at these times, and regulations, and to be watching everybody who's moving through at this time, and taking payments here and there, and making sure X, Y, and Z is all done, all these things. You can't have free-performing, ever-flowing, everlasting services in all directions with infinite intelligence and sovereignty ruling all points at all times with that kind of negative service. They don't work together. We're seeing that come to fruition now because they've been talking the free service talk, and they've been talking free love, they've been talking too much freedom and sovereignty, constitution, and all of the sort of birthright, true rights, one truth, one people's talk too far now. That the truth is too, people see it for what it is, and realize that all the control mechanisms that they've set are a bunch of trash, and that they're set for reasons. and oh wait, they have purpose. Who's the purpose for? Oh yeah, it's self-benefiting purpose for their services. Self-service that they've masked as service for all. But it's gone too far for most places and spaces, in so many layers and ways, in all kinds of industries, all worlds, traditions, in every kind of little global place across the world. And so with that, yeah, let's break out of seasonal depression. Let's break out of going into these habitual conversations, negativity, and try to shift it and open up to remembering and being grateful for the changes and the shifts and cycles, and letting it be empowering to you instead of being fearsome, causing fear, or worrisome. Instead, let the signals of retreat, like my Telegram meme, let the retreat inwards be an empowering thing. It's never a step backwards when you go inside. Retreat, this word I love so much. When a dear friend of mine inspired this great dual meaning within me of the word retreat. To the backup of the army, yes, is one thing. The retreat back sort of seems like negative stance. It seems like cowardice. It seems like weakness. But yet we have this other word of retreat. We have the retreat that we go to. We pay money to go to a retreat and to be like a spa, taken care of, and reclusive, like meditation retreats, or all of these other retreats where we go to do inner spiritual work, shamanic retreats and things like that. Retreat into the woods, right? Retreat inwards. And there's the distortion. There's the inverted flipping of the retreat in language, the control mechanism of it, to have this complete oppositional meaning and definitions of held between it. But can we find a harmonious middle ground, right? And that's what this time of year really is inspiring within me. How would I choose to retreat? And can I do that in a conscious awareness? Slowly, as slow as the tree retreats inwards, right? It doesn't shed every leaf overnight. Every leaf doesn't go from green to just yellow and then fall off the next day. It's gradual. It's a letting go. It's a slowing down. Each leaf knows it's doing less work. Its photosynthesis is slowing down. You know what I mean? Like, it's gradual. I'm hoping to use those as points of my own light and shadow work now, to gradually take myself into remembering, okay, this is a time for me to do more meditation. This is a time for me to remember my own hobbies and tasks that I like to do that are inside, that I can do in my own free time. When it's not very nice outside, when it's not time to do a lot of active things, when there's not a lot of gardening or walks to go on, or activities and cookouts, and just being outside to enjoy nature, or to go out, on daily adventures and stuff like that. To know that the time of year where it's more of a time for, doing whatever, drawing, writing, those things that I love to do, but also encouraging my children to learn other things that they like to do to take up their time, that isn't completely screens. It isn't binge watching, just shows, but it's also, hobby type of tasks. It's also things that have a dream or an idea behind them, that has an intuitive, creative seeking point behind it at first, that you go to do, remembering those types of things at this type of year are such pivotal points, I think. Another part that I really wanted to highlight is eating and living, the eating part of living that comes around with seasonals, the holidays, the pressures, and I'm not going to get too much into it. I feel everyone should find their own right path to what kind of food and eating they should do. I'm not really bringing it up to harp on that too much, but for us to be mindful also of eating. It is a time, it is harvest time, it is a time of plenty and abundance. It was a time to sort of eat a bit more because we are hunkering down, because it is a time where, traditionally it was winter and things were more scarce and we weren't sure how long we were going to get through, so maybe plump up a little bit to keep you through winter, or, maybe save up a little bit more and have these gathering points of sharing foods together, not just making Thanksgiving about coming together to hoard and eat up as fat as we can for one day, is this great sort of accumulation of sloth and hoarding and eating, but come together again as a gathering of abundant sharing. The cornucopia, coming together with baskets of sharing to offer together plentiness. From our, I have so much of this, let me share this with you. Sharing the leftovers from Thanksgiving is a huge thing. And making sure when you get together that people take away with them leftovers. And that great coming together and taking away, that, if you do, and the wonderful things about having gardens and having sort of homestead life, having communities where others have homesteading lives, where others garden, where there's farming community. I have a huge farming community in the town right next door, and many others, but I happen to be, within close range of one. And to know that you can come together at this time and have great leftovers that you can and jam and pickle, or just to have a bunch of leftover zucchinis ready, or cucumbers and leftover tomatoes, and all of these kind of things that are, you couldn't even as your family in your garden keep, because they're going to rot and go bad. And yeah, you can can some and so much, but you only keep so much, because how much will you really get through, right? This is the beauty of freely offered service and abundance and organic living with nature, because Thanksgiving, these traditional times to join together at a table, to share food, to have parties and gatherings. Yeah, it's not about just the one-night party, the hoarding, the sort of thing they make it out to be, that one YOLO night to sort of eat as much as you can and drink as much as you can and it's over with. No, it's more about that, having great dinner parties together to share these surpluses and to take away with you stuff that your garden didn't make, theirs did, and yours had extra of this or that, or she makes wonderful pies and and you get some of those from her, and his mother made that, and his father, pickles this, or has a great recipe of whatever. Or if you even have animals to share, and you share, he makes great chicken, or she does a great ham, or whatever the case is, recipes even and extras. These sharings of otherness, these other and energetic transactions, physical transactions that come along with the gathering, traditional, with the parties, with the going to other people's homes, with extended family coming together. We don't have to just make the conversation points and the get-togethers about these really shallow, oh, who did you vote for? Oh, who are you doing this? Or what's school about? Or how did you get this? What's your job? Oh, you're still here? You're doing that? Oh, what's your bills? How much is this gift? Who do you want? What do you want for this? And how much is this cost? Or, the weather. And all of these sort of really skating across the negatives given to us, go to crap, the plastered across the matrix propaganda that we're just parroting in repetition and carrying into our gatherings, and also beforehand allowing them to be like, oh, what are you going to wear, and how much is I'm going to spend on this, and oh, I have to have a new outfit for that, or how the kid's going to have to be in this thing, or they have to have these kids for this, and oh, they have so many, we have to buy all this stuff for them. And like, can we please get out of that and hearken back to the trueness of what coming together could really honor and be about? And there's a longing for that underneath the consumerism and the materialisticness. There is a truth to the reasons that we used to do this at these times. And there is a great honoring of a check-in with extended family, a check-in with community, the sharing of all of the abundance and things, and the spirit of that comes on with Thanksgiving and Christmas, and even New Year's, and the fresh starts, and the resolutions and things to forgive and start anew, that comes along with these spirits of newness. And that's in the preparation of knowing that we're going through the darkness, and spring's going to come again. But there's hardship to be faced. There's darker nights and colderness. There's a time that we need to sort of just be with direct family and sort of not have a bunch of external drama put on us or a bunch of extras. It's like, get all the extras together, get it all hoarded up, and then just get through, right? And if we could do that in a more organically aligned ways, because it is hard enough to get through. And it is like, yeah, each one of us does have service work to reflect on. Each one of us does have passions and hobbies and little things that we want to master and work on. We are eternal students in our lives, even as adults. And you do have all types of different hobbies and things that you could give yourself a chance to explore, think that you might like or want to get into in these times of year where you're called to be inside more, where you're called to do less externally with the world. The final thing that I kind of want to, I've just noticed like I've already passed half an hour and I wanted this video to be short, but I kind of touched on it, but of course it's sort of the money anchor. It's sort of that real tie that a lot of things have to do with right now, where we get wrapped up into worth and value and anxiety about all these things in the real world cost money. And or, oh yeah, well, but in the real world I can't have all of this. It's like, I totally understand that, and to speak with all honesty, you know, I don't have an abundance of money. I don't ever let that be a focus for my own point of worth. If you choose to make it your point of worth and reference, it will always be, and nothing anybody ever says will ever be enough for you, and that's fine. Each one of us will have to go through it or not ourselves, and that, you know, whether you find value in it or not, you don't need to. I'm just speaking for my own self. I found great freedom and positive feelings and letting go of anxiety, fear, guilt, shame, all these things that came along with money and purchasing gifts and keeping up with the Joneses, all these kind of things that go along with mainstream consumeristic life. True happiness and abundance came for me when I let go of all of that stuff. Of course, it's a work in progress, and I'm not to say that there's never a worry, and that I wouldn't say, oh, if it wouldn't be wonderful to have millions of dollars. You know, it would be wonderful to have millions of dollars. In that way is to actually have money to do whatever you want with. Of course, that's wonderful. It's great. It's also a great dream to have. I'm not denying or saying that that's not a great thing when I say, but what I'm saying is it's not the end-all be-all. It's not the only way to be happy or abundant. It's not the only way to be wealthy. And when you realize that, and when you own that, true wealth shines through. And then you realize, actually, the shallowness of the consumeristic wealth and of the buying of all the expensive gifts and brand names, or the sharing and the having all these expectations about people wanting certain items or what they care about, and why they care about those types of items. True gift giving and true honoring of that person is probably what you should be buying a gift for, or making a gift for, whatever you choose to do in between, giving someone a gift. It seems quite obvious, and yet so many people get wrapped up in, in the surface level of it. So I am going to shift my legs here because I've been talking for so long that my legs are getting tired now, of course, and I thought this would be a quick video. But in honoring my own body and what we need to do, right? Sometimes you need to move. I need to move. Thank you for listening to me for this long. If you have sat with me for this long, I hope that I got to everything that I wanted to talk about. My mind's been a little trailing off and coming back, which, I really am knowing this is my point of time to go inwards, to do more writing, to do less videos, to do less off the top of my head sort of offerings, and to go inwards and do more of my own internal working. So this is sort of like a surface level video to offer out to say, I'm doing a lot more behind the scenes work, my own type of work, in my own work place, and I hope you are too. I hope you will continue to do your own in your own ways, and that seeing videos like this will help you to comb out the kind of habitual things that we get stuck in, and remember that spiritual progression, life ascension, soul evolution, becoming a more wise, mature, better person, better whatever you are, wife, husband, mother, father, brother, sister, aunt and uncle, whatever kind of role you play this time of year within family and tradition too, I hope there is some freeing keys in this video, and for you to be your own self, as I am really trying to for myself each day and in each new way. Yeah. So with that, I guess good luck to you and your seasonal shifts. Will continue to be sharing sort of through mine in different ways that I am aligning with the seasons here and where I'm at. Oh, that's another thing. I know some things are like lingering things, but eating in alignment with the seasons, more like fruits and vegetables that come into season right now in my location, meals, sharing recipes of those things which are in alignment with that I might do, talking about how we can eat in alignment with what's around me right now, and also learning to listen to the points of wisdom and understanding that come after and while we are in alignment with these things, because that's a big part of it. It's not just the doing of it and like the robot going through it. It's really the listening and the being a part of it while going through it. That is the key that I'm trying to portray, that I think I'm hoping to get through, and I'm hoping to do. I'm really hoping to be a part of consciously. But it takes a coming back to, and it takes a representing of that and a speaking out of it. So I hope by reminding myself of that, and also honoring that by reminding you all, anyone watching, of that as well, to be great reminders in their lives and spaces of that. Live life awake, please. And thank you. And thank you to myself for doing this great service. Yeah, I'm going to leave it there. I'll talk to you next time. If you're looking for more, like I've said, I share daily stuff over on Telegram. If you use that platform, you can always find free information and what I'm up to over on my website, amariespeaks.com, or here on YouTube or BitChute. Yeah. So I guess I'll talk to you next time. Have a beautiful day or evening, and yeah.